Well, good afternoon. My name is Nate Hamblin. I'm the Executive Director of Ministry Resourcing here at FEC, and I'm joined by Nate Zimmerman, our Director of Finance and Benefits. And one of our goals here at the office is to make sure we resource our churches as well as those who hold credentials and serve our churches as ministry leaders. And one of the tangible ways we do that is through our retirement savings plan. And we're excited to let you know that there is a new benefit, a new option as a part of that retirement savings plan. And so we want to make sure that that is understood and available to all of our credentialed personnel. And so what we want to do is just really kind of run you through the what, the why you might be interested in that, and how to get enrolled. And so, Nate, how about we start with the what? What is this new option, and what is our retirement plan for those who might not know?
Yeah, before we get into the Roth deferral concept, I wanted to talk a little bit about how FEC, we view this as a partnership with you and your church. And so you're going to see a slide come up here in a little bit that just kind of outlines this partnership as we view it. And so this partnership is between your church and the church contribution that they make on your behalf. It's between you as the individual contribution that you make from your payroll, and then it's between FEC and the matching that we do on your contribution. And so the slide that you see here is going to highlight some 2024 numbers. So I wanted to kind of preview what's going to be happening in 2024. And so that's what you're seeing there. And then really for the purpose of this discussion, we're going to really hone in on the individual contribution. So that it's not going to change the church contribution, it's not going to change the FEC match, but really what we're circling in on is your individual contribution.
Great.
The next slide that you're going to see is just really like a quick information. The IRS has adjusted the amount of money that you can contribute to your retirement plan. And so that counts toward our plan as well. So if you're over age 50, you can contribute an additional $7,500 on top of the 23. Now, most of you, that's not going to impact you, but I just wanted to make sure that you're aware that those are our limits. Okay, so now going back to the Roth deferral, what are we talking about? So the way the plan has worked up to this point, your individual contribution was made on a pre-tax contribution. It was a traditional 401k. So those are some terminologies you've probably heard. Pre-tax meaning that you are able to make the contribution before, or lower your taxable income by the contribution you were making. Okay. The Roth deferral, it switches that. Your Roth contribution is made post-tax. So meaning you get your taxable income, and then you make your contribution. It doesn't lower your taxable income, it's made post-tax. So what you're seeing is a Roth deferral is made from your taxable income on a post-tax basis.
So I'm pretty ignorant in these matters, but at first blush, the obvious question becomes, why would I want to do that? Why would I want to put money in post-tax? Wouldn't I want that pre-tax benefit? So what is the advantage to the Roth deferral?
Yeah, I think most simply said, we'll just look at the next slide and then we'll talk a little bit more deeply into some different things. But Roth deferrals are made post-tax, but it allows for your money to grow tax-free. And then also in retirement can be distributed tax-free. So you pay the tax on the front end, but it allows tax-free growth and tax-free distribution. So there is some benefit in retirement of having a tax-free pot of money. So if you've met with your financial planner, you'll hear them talk about different things like, well, you should diversify your taxes.
Okay.
Or they've talked about the tax-free growth, which we've talked about. This tax favorability also passes on when, like, you as the individual die.
Okay.
And so it really boils down to taking advantage of the tax benefits.
Yeah.
And so
eat the tax now so that later you're not eating a larger tax.
Exactly.
Okay, great.
So some considerations that you might have is like, well, thinking about taxes, are your taxes going to get higher,
right?
Like later, or are they going? Or is your tax going to drop in retirement? Most of the time, it's not going to drop.
Great.
Most of the time, taxes are not going to become lower over time.
Right.
The previous administration's tax cuts expire in 2025, and so in 2026, you're going to see a bump up in taxes, and so that's some consideration.
Great.
Another consideration is for us younger guys. I'm going to still lump myself into that.
Absolutely.
So we have children at home. If you have children at home, you're getting the benefit of those tax credits for your children. As you get older, you lose those tax credits. But because of the tax credits of your children, because of the housing allowance where we're able to shelter taxation of our salaries, we just maybe don't need that tax benefit of a pre-tax contribution.
Gotcha.
And so this allows for us to get our money into retirement in a way that's going to protect us from taxation later.
Perfect. Perfect.
So those are some of the whys.
Yeah, that's great. Let me just pause. I believe on the screen is a number if you have any questions. And so you can just text that number. I can't read upside down very good. 260 9180868. And as those questions come in, we'll try to handle those. So if you have any other questions about the why, please send those in. It looks like we have one question. What do we got? Oh, we've already answered it back via text, so that's great. Any more thoughts about the why, or do we want to kind of move towards the how would I jump in on this deferral option?
I think I sprinted past it, but you've heard your financial planners talk about diversifying your assets. Yeah. And so when you put your money into a retirement plan, you don't put it all into one fund or into one market segment. You put it into a number of different segments, and you're kind of spreading out the risk. Diversifying your taxes is similar to that. One of the ways I like to think about it, if you use the bucket method of saving, so you have a bucket for your savings account, you have your emergency fund bucket, and you have your daily spending, that kind of thing. From a taxation standpoint, having the option in retirement to say, you know what, I need to make sure that my taxable income doesn't get too high in retirement. I'm going to make a distribution from my Roth bucket. Okay. And in doing so, you're not going to have to pay taxes on those funds. Gotcha. We also have the housing provision, so that to the extent that you have housing expenses, you can take some of those funds out tax-free. And so if you've got the housing provision bucket and you've got the Roth bucket, that can help you control your taxes in your retirement plan distributions. That's great. And so that when you hear that diversify your taxes, that's really what we're talking about.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Any other questions about the why? All right. Well, then let's jump.
Just one other comment.
Please do.
Just let your financial planner know that this is an option, and there are unique situations in all of our cases. And so, rather than try to dive into each of those specific situations, we're just trying to throw some really high-level perspective. But letting your financial planner know, he can talk to you about your specific why.
Because again, bottom line, in terms of a resource we offer, again, our retirement savings plan, this is just an added option within it. And so I don't have to choose one or the other. I can do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Is that correct?
That's exactly right. Yep.
So again, talk to your financial advisors, and they'll help you with that. So how? If my financial advisor says, yeah, you should definitely have part of a Roth option, what's my process? What are my steps to help with that individual contribution bucket?
Yeah, and so I've already been getting some of these questions about how do we do this? Am I going to have to start a new account? Am I going to? The answer is no. It's actually really simple, which is encouraging. Yeah. So after you meet with your financial planner or your tax consultant and you get the green light, it's as simple as talking to whomever handles your payroll at your local church and just letting them know, I'd like to make my retirement plan contribution as a Roth contribution. And so it's just communicating that.
Or this portion of my contribution as
exactly
a Roth.
Right. So it doesn't have, that's a really good observation. It doesn't have to be 100% Roth or 100% pre-tax. You can do a little bit of both.
Great.
So it's communicating to your payroll person that you want to make Roth contributions in some capacity. Yep. And then kind of looking ahead to the administration side of things, I just wanted to kind of point out a couple things there. One, we have to wait until January 1st, 2024.
Okay.
So we can't do it right now. We have to wait until the new year.
Okay.
So that's the first thing. The second thing, I need whomever's sending in the check to FEC to let us know what is pre-tax and what is post-tax.
Okay.
And so we've created a form. You've seen this form before, but we've created a form and we want you to see it. So we're going to highlight. The first slide that you're going to see is the main summary page. And so we've kind of highlighted the part that has to do with the Roth or the retirement plan contribution. And then if you go to the next slide, you're going to see this is where we're actually gathering the data for the contributions. And so there's a place for you to put the participant. We see the church contribution, and then pre-tax contributions that have been normally happening would show up in traditional,
Okay.
and then those post-tax Roth contributions would be shown under the Roth column. And that just helps us as an office make sure that those monies go in properly.
Yeah. Because really, from an administrative side, that's where we have to keep it crystal clear.
Correct.
Yeah, that's great.
Correct. So really, the how is simple in terms of the implementation of adding the Roth contribution and then sending us and communicating with us the information.
Yep.
I believe there may be a question.
We have
Two
a couple questions. All right, what's the first question? What if we already have a Roth IRA started?
That doesn't necessarily have to impact anything.
Okay.
So you can continue to make your individual Roth contribution. This is this is a separate contribution, so you can make the additional contributions by Roth 401k deferrals.
Okay. Second question.
When distributions are taken in retirement, is the tax status prorated on the overall weighting of Roth versus traditional in the account as a whole? Or is there flexibility to choose and designate timing of when Roth versus traditional funds are dispersed?
I'm going to let you address and try to restate that question.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Basically, what they're asking, I talked about the different buckets.
Yes.
And so in retirement, when I'm making a distribution, can I pick to just choose from this bucket?
Okay.
Or am I making a distribution that's going to get spread across
Okay.
all of the different buckets?
Okay.
And to answer that question, I'm going to give you what I think, but then say that I need to follow up and give more detail on that. But I believe that you have the ability to go in and say, I want to distribute my funds from this bucket, the
Okay.
Roth bucket.
Okay.
That will give you the most
Yep.
choice in retirement.
Yep. And obviously, we're happy to follow up with these questions here. But any questions you have after this, you can email Nate directly. That's n.zimmerman@fecministries.org. Or if you can't remember that, just info@fecministries.org, and we'll make sure he gets the email. So I know you love to have individual conversations. In fact, you would rather talk one-on-one than do a live webinar like this.
100%. 100%.
All right, we got another question. What do we got?
Can money previously deposited in my FEC retirement fund in past years be rolled over into the new Roth fund?
So if I have money that I've deposited in my past FEC account, can I now roll that over to this new option that you're describing?
Yes.
Okay.
I want to be a little bit specific about the word. So
Okay.
that's a really good question. We're not starting a new account.
Great.
And so we're not rolling money from one account to a new account.
Okay.
What you're talking about is a Roth conversion.
Okay.
And can I convert my traditional contribution to Roth contribution?
Okay.
Yes. However, that is a taxable event because you haven't paid tax on that
Okay.
pre-tax contribution.
Okay.
So you're introducing a taxable event. And so there may be reason to do that.
Yep.
There also may be reason why you don't want to do it all.
Okay.
And so that's really getting specific into meet with your financial planner,
Yep.
talk to your tax consultant, and they can kind of help you walk through that process.
That's great. Another question, yeah.
Will quarterly statements show the split between
Will quarterly statements show the split between
Roth and traditional?
the Roth and the traditional?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Just like they do now, where you can kind of see the church contribution, your contribution, and the match. There will be a fourth line that kind
Perfect.
of itemizes that.
Perfect.
Great
Yes.
question.
Because our retirement plan is funded in three parts, FEC Church Individual, can any of those parts of the funding go towards Roth? Meaning can the employee is only designated a dollar amount based on their individual rather than the total?
Yeah. So the question is, the very first slide you presented was how our retirement savings plan is a partnership between the local church, the individual, and FEC. The question, as I understand it, is it only the individual portion that I can designate for this Roth deferral, or can I choose to do that with any of those sources of funds?
Again, a great question. That was really why we wanted to start the conversation at the beginning by highlighting the individual contribution.
Okay.
So at this point,
Okay.
there may be some changes that are forced by the government down the road
Right.
that might introduce conversation around the match. We're not there yet.
Okay.
So right now, we're just talking about that individual contribution.
So not my church's contribution, not FEC's contribution, just what I designate for my individual.
Correct.
Great. Okay. We're not seeing any other questions. Again, I'm kind of stalling here to let you send some questions in, but we don't want to belabor this. If you have any questions, you just want to email Nate, n.zimmerman@fecministries.org. Our heart is to serve you. You are on the front lines of our churches, and we want to make sure that we take care of those credentialed personnel as best we can. So we really are excited anytime we have a chance to broaden and expand a resource that we offer, like our retirement savings plan. We would ask for grace. This is a new option for us to manage. We have great people doing it, but I'm sure there will be a learning curve for us as well. So just send those questions in. It looks like we got one more question, and then we'll get ready to sign off. Go ahead. Basically, the question is there a PDF form or a one-page explainer that I could send to my financial advisor so they have the information of this new thing that's available to me?
At this point, no, we do not have that ready. That is something that I could work with the team here to create. Honestly, your financial planner is going to be attuned to the Roth deferral option. They may question, is that really a 401k? And yes, we do have a 401k. Yes. But in terms of addressing your question, no, we don't have a one-pager. But just being armed with that, what I will say is that this recording is going to be available afterward. And the PowerPoint presentation that we've kind of run through quickly will also be available. And then that one or that 2-page document will also be available. Great. So there will be those kind of things, but no, we don't have like a one-page hitter.
Great. Yeah. So the same URL, the same link you use to join this webinar, you can find all those resources Nate just referenced. It looks like we have another question. Two more. We are new to this. What are the rates for the church to participate normally? I think we need to go back to that opening screen.
Yeah, if we go back to that first slide, and I don't know if we want to pull it up, but if we go back to that first slide, the church contribution is a fixed rate.
Yep.
And the one thing I would point out on this slide in general is that we try to make sure that our benefits are kind of keeping pace with inflation. We don't want your benefit to decrease over time. Yeah. And so what you're seeing there, the $312 a month is the church contribution for 2024.
Yeah. And you send that out to churches ahead of each year, and that rate adjusts each year, but you make the church, it doesn't adjust during the year. Sorry, I complicated that.
That's correct. We go 1/1 to 12/31.
Great. Next question. So we've got a church treasurer, not a plan participant, but asking, can I see a trail of the investments that are made for our church staff?
The quick answer is absolutely.
Yes.
I would welcome you to communicate directly with me, and I can get you the participant fee disclosure that not only gives you what investments are available, but the returns and the fees and that kind of thing to go with it. I think that's going to capture more than what you're asking, right. But it'll equip you or arm you with the information that you need.
That's great. Any other questions? Well, thank you for tuning in. We know that the holidays are coming, but again, this is just something we wanted to make sure there was a lot of understanding. Nate, thank you for all the work you do managing this for so many people. As our fellowship continues to grow, the number of participants continue to grow. These are wonderful opportunities for us, but we know it takes a lot of work. So have a wonderful afternoon. Have a great Thanksgiving. As always, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out.
Thank you.